What is up, everyone? My name is Josh, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I provide fully transparent trade breakdowns, weekly watch lists, and educational content in order to teach traders how to find their edge in the market. If you're coming from Twitter, welcome. If you're new to my channel and do not follow me on Twitter, you can click the link in the description to catch me post these trades in real time and also provide breakdowns in real time. Let's get right into this video, which will be the first in a series where I provide a recap of my trades and also a little bit of forecasting into the week ahead. So let's get into it. All right, so let us now take a look at some of the trades I made this last week, 4 of them. And to get a glimpse into my process, let's start first with Etsy. Etsy was a name on my radar for a while, and I have been waiting. I had a plan, and I was patient with it. And if you look closely, let's actually turn to the 184-hour chart. You can see it better with a little bit more detail. If you look at my chart, you can see the consolidation areas and the demand areas I have marked out. I should have extended this actually a little bit more. This demand area clearly marked out from this bottom wick, this touch right here, and also a very clear downward trend line. And I was basically looking for a similar move to this one right here and this one. So once you get over the high, you can get in your entry right here. You can also get your entry in on a break of the downward trend line, or like a buying candle. So an igniter candle is what I refer to it as. This is an igniter candle. There is a slew of buyers that come in, pushing a stock out of its consolidation, usually over a previously sold off level. So right here, this 83.84 level, price closed above it. Very strong day. Momentum continued forward. It's a momentum play. On this one, it was a clean break. We got a hammer candle in supply, or sorry, excuse me, in demand. And I was basically looking for the same type of pattern as my tweet here indicates. And we actually got a hammer candle pattern, and we got some decent follow through. And so I actually took Etsy on this hammer candle on the close here, and I was able to sell it for a profit at the upper trend line resistance. The reason I sold at resistance was I knew that I sold a majority of it. I didn't sell all of my contracts. I sold a majority of it because I knew that if price were to break the trend line, I could simply add it back at a higher strike price. I would be rolling my strikes because it would signal new buyers, new momentum coming into the stock as it breaks out of consolidation. As it were, my expirations were for this week. It was a very quick play. I didn't want the play to turn against me. So on Wednesday, when the price opened above, I was really expecting this trend line to at least hold. And when it didn't hold, I was no longer confident that it was a breakout, even though the daily suggested it still could have been a breakout because we closed over the trend line. Actually, TOS has this weird thing where on different time frames, the trend line looks different, has different points of contact. But I was more uncertain about the trade, and I knew I would have a better entry if we were to close above, and we ended up continuing down through what was previously this demand area and bouncing on the previous breakout level, which was right around here, this igniter candle breakout level. So I had drawn this line before, I had this demand drawn for. Unfortunately, the play didn't work out. I believe I was still green on the trade. The key to this one though was taking profit at the trend line, looking to add if price held above and was able to push into this 132 area and hold above there, looking for a new high, and we were not able to do that. Now, looking forward on Etsy, it really needs to reclaim this previous demand area, or it will act as somewhat of a cap on its run. And we could see even down into this price range, we could definitely see a retest of this 100 area if 117 keeps being rejected. Etsy was added to the S&P and price shot up to, you can see up here, 118. So it is above this key area. But what I'm concerned about is, will it be able to accumulate buyers here in order to push it above this 131 area? We no longer have this nice little pattern, this W pattern, this bullish pennant pattern forming anymore. It'll have to develop into something different. So that was that one. Another trade I took was Apple. I took Apple actually short, and I will actually show it on, let's see if I can pull it up on this time frame. Yep, it's right here. So I took Apple short on this time frame. I always trade on the 2-day 2-minute chart. Sometimes 5-day 2-minute chart. I found that trading on the 1-minute chart was way too fakey, and so I could probably trade on the 5-minute chart, but I like to see more of the price action and the candlestick patterns, specific 3-bar patterns that I look for, and the 2-day 2-minute chart has proven to be a good storyteller with that. So the reason why I took this Apple trade was because I had actually seen a very similar setup earlier, and I've been trying to add more bearish setups into my toolbox recently, because I put out a tweet the other day saying that my call to put ratio was infinite because I had literally only been buying calls for maybe 6 weeks straight, and price was getting a bit euphoric, and so I wanted to see at what point I could actually set up some sort of put plays. And one thing that I was interested in was if you had, as I mentioned, Apple stock actually went above, it shot above my value fib level, and on this gap down I was looking to see whether we would be able to reclaim this previous area right here, the supply. And what I look for is, especially in the pre-market data, something that I will make another video on this in the future, but I was looking to see which way the buyers, who is winning in the pre-market. Was it buyers or sellers? And in the pre-market, it was definitely sellers that were winning. You can see some of the action right here. And I made a different thread about this on Twitter, but the momentum that carries the price to the downside below all the moving averages actually will set up an incredible short when you have confluence. And so for me, it wasn't even able to get up into the 200 moving. Oh, actually it was on the 2-minute chart. Sorry, excuse me. On the 2-minute chart, it was able to get up into that 200 MA area, which is what I look for basically, into the supply area that I had marked out, that it was a gap down, and it was on the fib level that I had marked out. So we have like basically a triple confluence of that is of sellers building up, and when that happens, I basically go in heavy short on this type of setup because I understand that if price were to come into here, I have an easy stop. The stop is this 200 moving average. Sometimes I will even take off contracts if it closes above this fib level right here, this 128 level, and I'll reduce into the 200 until I see some type of rejection. I'm able to add back under this line. So this line acts as a add subtract line for me. So I go heavy and short right here, especially as the price continues to trend below the moving average. And on this trade, I reduced here and I reduced here. I didn't catch this third move, even though I had my my support marked out. And a general rule that I try to follow is when price rejects at one level, it will continue on to the next support level. The same thing with buyers. If it pushes past one level, it will continue to the next level if you have good levels marked out. So I could have held over a runner in order to play this as well. And also what I need to be doing more of is actually setting an alert on these levels to the downside in order to capture a reversal. And you see a nice little reversal Darth Maul lightsaber right here that could have caught you about like probably 4 points. I don't think you would have been able to catch the bottom exactly. But that's how I played Apple. I was able to get money out of it. I actually alerted that one, I believe, on Twitter, and it was a good setup. Basically the same setup appeared on NVAX, NovaVax, on the same day, I believe. So on this day, it's interesting because NovaVax actually had good news come up, and I wasn't able to really talk about it in Twitter, but I was looking to see if price would be able to hold above this 112, 113 level. And if you look at this 112, 113 level on a daily chart, you can see it. Well, actually, I guess you have to look at the 180 4-hour chart to really see the data. You can see right here that on the big drops, this is where the buyers came in to support the price. And this is where the sellers now are rejecting the price. So the question is, will on this particular day, the buyers be able to win or be able to push price above where the sellers have been selling the stock? And usually the answer is no. And so what you're looking for is a confirmation of your thesis. And it's kind of choppy in the beginning. I don't recommend on these plays. You can even on the last play, on the Apple play, it took about 15, 20, 30 minutes for the play to develop, and that's why I don't recommend buying or selling straight at the open. You can actually wait to see these types of patterns develop in order to get a better risk reward. And I actually ended up taking it right around in this area right here. And I was a little patient and I was able to capture that short. I felt very happy with it. And if I had actually held a runner, it ended up going all the way down to 88 the next day, which I hadn't marked out any other supports down there. I was happy with just capturing this move right here, especially as price crossed below the 200 moving average. I was expecting even potentially a parabolic, a panic sell. That didn't happen, so I had to subtract some contracts right around here. But I was able to make a pretty good return on that one because of a very similar setup with Apple. Now the difference between this one notably and the Apple setup is that this one took a longer time to develop because the price is trending above the 200 moving average. And that actually that caused a little bit of support to develop in the price, and it took a little bit more time to develop the sell on that one. The last one that I would like to look at for this last week is ROKU. And ROKU is just a beautiful stock that I chart. It follows levels very well. It doesn't follow SPY too often. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture the downward move, but I was able to capture the move to the upside. And the way that I did this was, these levels are all from my daily chart. They're all from this yellow line is the gap drop. 78.6 fib coincides with the gap down supply level that was continually rejected like 5 different times. The 100% is the top. So the purple level is something from previous supply right around there. So there's a lot of good levels on this name. The 4 that I'm working with are the 4 that I just named. And what I'm looking for is, you see how it moves according to the levels. Like once price opens above one of these levels, the buyers are able to come in and push price to the next level. Once price consolidates above the next level, they are able to push price to the next level. The same thing happens right here. Like they're able to hold this level right here after dipping below earlier, and they're able to push price to the next level. And you know, your entry on this one would have been above here, above the high of 826. So you would have been able to capture about, you know, 8 points, 9 points. But the trade that I took was on this day right here, 831. It was an inside day. You can see that the price is both, the low is inside the low of the previous day and the high. I took contracts into this day on an inside day. I bought contracts day before. When price opened above, basically above 828, I added contracts and then I sold into strength. I always, on these ads, I always sell into strength because and ROKU especially, I've been following this stock for a long time, and it usually, I mean, in the afternoon session will give up 50% of its gains from the morning session. And so I was very happy to sell into strength here. And after that, it kind of fell off my radar, and I wasn't able to capture basically the staircase downward as well. But all in all, this chart is just beautifully following every single level that I've marked out here. Even before, like these levels were marked out maybe 3 weeks in advance, and the price is following it perfectly. So I'm very happy with this chart, even if I wasn't able to profit off the move both ways. All right, so as a bonus, I would like to cover what I think was my best trade of the week on the NASDAQ. What I was surprised by in QQQ was honestly how much extended we were from my value fib area of 283. Now, I was not afraid to continue to follow the price as it continued upward. We continued for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days before dropping. That's a whole 7 days of trading where we made money on the long side. But I was a little wary because it is very irregular for price to continue straight up without any sort of back test on a fib level. And so what I was watching for, which is what I was putting on my Twitter, was this trend line right here. And I was waiting to see when this trend line would be broken. And on Wednesday, it looked like it was going to be broken, but we got a little bit of a recovery. But if you are aware of this pattern, you actually could see that on Wednesday we formed a hanging man candle. Hanging man candle is a topping pattern. It is a reversal signal, and it is one that looks almost exactly like this, actually. And the key for the hanging man candle is that the price has to close below the high, the opening price. So it creates a little bit of a red body. And so that is what I was looking for on Wednesday into the close. I was looking to see, would price break 303.31? And price attempted to, but in the last 5 minutes, there was a little bit of a rejection. And for me, that was enough to create a short entry on the thesis that this was a hanging man candle and we were going to see some type of change in trend. All right, well, that marks the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the alert notification, because sometimes I will go live on YouTube live streaming my trading sessions. You can also, as I mentioned in the beginning, follow me on Twitter, where I'm posting some live trades as they develop. If you have a comment on what other types of videos you would like to see from me, questions you have, you can drop that in the comment section, or you can @ me on Twitter @WatchJoshTrade. All right, y'all. Peace out. See you next time.